Stop suffering in silence because it doesn't help you. It only hurts you. And it actually is on your breakthrough is on the opposite side of never dealing with this suffering in silence again. Every time you suffer in silence, you're pushing your desire farther and farther and farther away. And when you decide to finally stop wanting to suffer in silence after watching this video and you hear all the points of exactly how to do it, you are never going to want to suffer in silence again because you're going to understand your desires are on the literal other side of it. And the way that most people think about suffering in silence is they just think they can do things on their own. They just think, okay, well, I'm strong enough, I'm good enough, I'm enough, so I should be able to do it on my own. The beauty of life is that even though you are enough and you are loved and you are cherished and you're respected and you're amazing, you still get to do it with other people. And suffering in silence can be a form of self sabotage where you are feeling like you don't deserve other people's help and you don't deserve the assistance. But assistance isn't a bad thing. It actually helps. That's how everyone gets to where they want to be. You cannot get anywhere without the assistance of other people. So just because you negate assistance in a certain way doesn't mean you're not being assisted. So if you're a person that's really stuck in the mindset of, I want to do things on my own, I want to, get things done on my own, just remember everything that you want to get done in life, you're never going to be able to get it done on your own. You may say no to your friends' help, say no to your family's help, keep all your problems to yourself, but you're still going to have to reach out to people because how else are you going to get success, right? You have to communicate, connect, and collaborate, those three C's, with other people in order to get your desires. People are the key to everything. That's why people will say, or it's a common saying, that your network is your net worth. And I feel a lot better today. Waking up, I feel my voice sounds better. You guys can probably tell from like the last four videos to like right now that I feel a lot better. But when you hear that saying, it's like true. It's not saying that you can only have a high net worth if you have a big network, but it's saying that it definitely doesn't hurt. And in life, a lot of things may not benefit you, but they definitely don't hurt you. They don't guarantee your success. They definitely don't hurt you. Okay. And one of those things is suffering in silence. It absolutely doesn't help you and it hurts you. But on the opposite side of that, when you actually talk about your problems, that is something that most people don't realize actually helps you. It never hurts you as much as it never hurts you as much as it helps you. So even though it seems like telling your problems, maybe spreading negativity, might be pushing a negative narrative and making you seem like a person that doesn't have your stuff together or whatever the case may be, it's still something that really does help you. It actually helps you more than it hurts you. So there are plenty of things in life that don't necessarily guarantee your success, but they get you closer. And having a big network is one of those things because it increases your net worth. You know, it doesn't hurt your network. It doesn't it doesn't hurt your net worth to have a big net worth, but um okay. It doesn't hurt your net worth to have a large network. It doesn't guarantee that you're going to have a high net worth, but you're better off having a big network because it doesn't hurt you. So, same thing as when you share your problems and you're open and you're vulnerable, it can feel like it's going to hurt you in the end and make you be weak in people's eyes, but it actually doesn't hurt you as much as you think it does to share. And in reality, it hurts you more to keep it to yourself. So, one is to tell people your problems. And the only way you can tell people your problems is if you know your problems. If you can verbalize your problems, that's the only way that you're going to be able to share your problems. So if you can get in the habit of verbalizing and kind of contextualizing your problems, you're going to be able to share them a lot easier. So, for instance, if I'm really, really, really thirsty, I can keep it to myself and just act like, okay, well, I'm going to assume nobody has water. I'm going to assume no one can help me. Or even if they can help me, I'm not going to take water or ask for water because I don't want to be perceived as weak. Where if somebody has the resource to help you, and they're happily ready to give it to people, but they don't know you need it, you see how that hurts you? So if you can talk about your problems, hey guys, I need water. Hey guys, I'm really thirsty. Yes, talking about the problem doesn't guarantee you'll get an answer, but it does guarantee that you get closer to your answer. It doesn't guarantee an answer or a result or a solution, but it guarantees that you get closer to it. And that's all that really matters. And talking about your problems can also amplify and really expose who has the answers. You don't know who has the answer to your problem or the answer to your issue. You don't. You don't know. There's people that think like you. There's people that think the opposite of you. There's people that think the opposite spectrum of you, and people that think just exactly like you. But you don't know who is going to have your answer. So if you have a problem with spirituality and you only want to talk about it with your friends who are the same religion as you, and you're scared to talk about it with your friends who are a different religion, you are shorthanding yourself on the results and answers you could be getting and the solutions you could be getting because you don't want to talk to a certain group of people because you think they can't help you, or you think they'll judge or call you weak or think that you're this or think that you're that. That's very well true. They could not agree and they could not be helpful, right? But they're not going to hurt what you already have going on. They're just going to bring you closer to the answer that you're looking for because you don't know who has the answer. You don't know. And this happened to me when I was like really afraid of doing something, and I was just like, you know what? I don't know where to go. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to go about this thing. And I said, you know what? I'm going to start talking about it. So I started telling people, talking about it, asking for help, asking for advice, looking for people that relate. And 6 months later, no, 9 months later, no, hold on, 7 months later, I ended up meeting someone that gave me the direct name to the person, not the place, not the thing, not general, the direct person's name and contact of who I need to speak to get that problem solved. So it took time, but every time I shared about it, I got closer to understanding what my problem actually was, and I got closer to what the solution was going to be. And so grateful and happy that I have people around me that love and support me, but also I appreciate the fact that I have the awareness that I can share problems. I'm not saying go tell everybody your business about every single little thing. That's not what I'm about, right? But if you do have a problem or issue or you're struggling with something, talk about it. Internalizing that can be really dangerous for you. And you also don't know what their questions will expose. And sometimes their questions, when people ask you questions, it exposes what you actually need. So if I go up to someone saying, you know, I have this problem, they might have a perspective where they're like, well, actually, it sounds like you don't have this problem, you have that. And it unlocks in your brain. And you're like, oh my gosh, I actually don't have the problem I thought I had. I actually have a different problem. And so now, instead of going and forging this path of finding this direct solution you thought you needed, you can get off that path and go in a different direction. You can go in a different direction to where you think would be a better use of your time, resources, and energy. And that is so much more important than it's also the people that are in the mindset of I'm right. I know what I'm doing. I know what I need to do. That's really, really, really dangerous because you don't know the answer. Because if you knew what you're supposed to be doing, you would have already had the solution. The only thing that we're doing is navigating along with the source. And I talked about that in my video, my recent video, which is I'm gonna look up the title for you so that you can watch it if you want to. But um, I talked about it in a recent video because it's so important to know that when you're like you know how to make decisions in your life, especially when you're young, because you're gonna have to make a lot of decisions in your life, and it gets increasingly hard. So you have to start at a young age. I'm only 23, but I have established a literal document on how I make decisions, and that is what I talked about in this video, on how to make that document, and it's called The Easiest Way to Secure Your Next Manifestation. It's a 1 hour stream. You need to watch the entire thing. On the thumbnail, it says you need to anchor in trust, and that video is coming out December 1st. So that video has already been recorded, but it's coming out soon, and you guys will be able to see that. Um, that video is going to really walk you exactly through how to do that. But you never know who or what is gonna expose the thing you need to do. So if you're really one track minded and you're like, I need to do this, I need to be here, remember that life also requires flexibility. It also requires pivots. It doesn't want you to be so rigid because how do you flow in the flow of life if you're so rigid? Like you're just trucking forward against the grain of life, right? Because I don't I guess the only thing I know is like hair grows in a certain direction. If you're going against the grain, you're causing damage. You actually damage your hair follicles by shaving it off or removing it in the wrong direction. That's actually really dangerous for your skin. So, if you can understand that, okay, I don't want to go against the grain of life. I would much rather go with the flow, with the grain, do it in a way that's more sustainable. I don't want to work so hard to go like push against life. I want to work with it. And that's where this comes in, like flexibility and being able to pivot. My favorite word the past few weeks has been pivot. Pivot. It's like something that is like a basketball term, but I don't know what it means in basketball, but I do know that a pivot is a change of direction. So with any decision that you're making. You may have a specific goal, but you may have to change directions two, three, four, 5 times to get to where you want to get. You may have to change the direction that you're going to get where you want to get. You're still going to get to the finish line. You're still going to go in a certain direction, but you may have to change your direction. It's the same thing when you're talking about trading, right? If anybody here is a trader, day trader, forex, because forex is not a scam. That's if you think Forex is a scam, then there's a lot of education around financial literacy that you probably need. And I would recommend for that the video. I posted a video about it. Um, it's called "When Parenting Isn't Enough." In parentheses, it says "Fin Literacy." Fin means financial, so financial literacy, and it's 32 minutes. It On the video it says the area of confusion will keep getting smaller. That's what the video thumbnail is, and that video will really help you to understand more about investing because that is insane. Forex is not a scam, but when you are looking at charts, whether you're doing forex and or you're doing day trading, you're doing scalping, whatever you're doing with or options, whatever you're doing with trading, you can zoom out, right? So zoom out and look at something in a span of a month. So you're looking at a chart for how prices moved and how the market has moved and the volume over a month. And it may look like it's going up, right? It's an uptrend. But if you zoom in a little bit more to a week, so now we're seeing, so there's 4 weeks in a month. So we're looking at 1/4. We've zoomed in a fourth. So we're like really deeper into the chart. We are going to see, even though in the month we see an uptrend, clearly an uptrend, when we zoom in to a week, we can see it goes up, down, up, down, up, down, up. up, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down, up, down. And those specific candles are what creates that trend line that you see over the month. So even though we're going up, right? We are going up. You can't trade off the 1 month because that is extremely too zoomed out. It gives you an overall trend of market structure, but it's never ever going to tell you where to enter a trade. Do not enter a trade or do whatever you want, depending on how you trade. But you want to zoom in. Most people trade on the 1 minute, 5 minute, some on the 15, but you're never going to trade on a year or a month or even a week because it's too zoomed out to see what actually happened. We can only see the overall. So you want to make sure that you're zooming in, you're seeing what's actually happening. So when we go back to the original topic, when you're making a decision, the goal is to see the overall trend. Okay, I want this one goal. I want to either uptrend or downtrend. I want to go in a certain direction. Right? Uptrend, I want to go here or I want to go here. Whichever I want to go, doesn't matter. I want to go somewhere. But to get to that destination, we're not just shooting up, we're going up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And then we eventually finally break out. We finally get to our goal. We finally get to what we wanted. But it wasn't just this, it was a lot of this if you zoom in. So if you make a decision, right, and even you can look at your life like this, right? Like from, let's just say at age 18, I decided to start doing something. I can only really see how that thing worked for me now that I'm 23 because I can zoom out and I can actually look back at it in hindsight and say, wow, from age 18 to 19, these are all the decisions I made over that year span. Wow, that's so interesting. Or if there was a year, a month in your life where things were really going crazy and like you didn't know what was going to happen next, you didn't know like everything was just going insane. You're making so many good decisions, bad decisions, things were just fluctuating and you just didn't know what was going to happen and how you were going to get to your goal. But if you and you didn't know what was going to happen during that month, but you can zoom out and you can see where you ended up. You can see where your trend was. You can say, oh wow, over the entire month of all the decisions, of all the things that happened, of all the fluctuations and problems and issues that came about and the obstacles and everything, I can still see I ended up here. Or I can still see I ended up here. Like you can't end up both here and here. You have to end up in one direction, right? When you're moving in a direction, you have to end up somewhere. So let's just say you end up here at the top. If you zoom in to that month and you look at it from week to week or day to day or hour to hour, there were thousands of different things that happened to get you to that point. It wasn't just an upshoot. Okay. So when you think of your decisions, um, make sure that you're not being so rigid because that's not how decisions are made. Decisions are made by small little choices, small little decisions, small little habits, small little things that you do on a day-to-day basis, hourly basis. And that's why everything you do during your day matters so much. Because if you are living your life thinking that one day you're going to wake up and be a 35-year-old millionaire and you think you're just going to end up here, you're going to zoom out of your life and you're like, wow, I ended up there. Okay, how did we get there? There were like ups and downs, there were losses, there were gains, there were problems, there were victories, there were a ton of things that happened along the way, but we ended up wherever the desire was along the way. We didn't just shoot up and get there. So that's the same thing every single day. You cannot just assume, okay, yeah, I know how to, I'm good with money. Yeah, I'm just gonna I'll start investing when I'm 30 and then I'll be there by 35. You're going to be in for a rude awakening because it's not going to work like that. You have to zoom out much more. And so if you can make a decision or make habits that are going to get you closer today, and if you don't know where to start talking about it, right? Going back to what we talked about in the beginning of the video, start talking about it. Start mentioning your goals. I mean, a lot of people don't mention their goals to other people because they don't want to have people like wish bad on them or talk about them or this or that. But when you're first starting a goal and don't know where to go with it, that's when you can talk about it. If you have a desire and you know exactly what you want to do and you don't want anyone's opinion on it and you're like, this is what I'm doing, that's when you don't share it. But if you have a goal that you want to do, but you don't even know where to start, you don't even know where to go, you need to talk about it. You need to ask people. You need to you need to like throw the idea around and get ideas thrown back at you. And you need to like really work and massage that idea because you're going to have to take habits and steps every single day to get there. And you want to be able to zoom out in a month or a year and say, wow, I actually got here because of all these things that I did, because I made the decision to not self sabotage and to not suffer in silence with the problems or issues or I'm having, or the fact that I don't know how to get to my next desire, because you never know who you'll talk to, what they'll ask you about the thing, and how they can provide some context or inspiration or motivation or whatever to whatever you're doing. Like that is so important. So freaking important to your journey is to do that. And I did that. I did that. Like I talked to people when I was first, deciding some things in my life. I would have the idea and I didn't know where to go, what to do really. So I would talk to people, I'd research, I'd do this, I'd do that. And then when I understood, this was before I made the self-trust list. Now I wouldn't talk to people about certain things, but before I had that self-trust list, and I talked about that in the video that's coming out December 1st. Before I made that list, um, I just would throw the idea around and I would try to figure out what in the world am I supposed to do. And then when I got enough information to make my own decision and make my own choice, I made my choice and I stuck to my decision and I achieved my goal. And I had to first get a sense of direction first, right? You have to first get a sense of direction. And you cannot get a sense of direction if you're stuck in your head. If you're constantly just up here thinking to yourself, thinking to yourself all day is a form of distraction because you're not making any moves. And this also, I talked about this earlier. Oh, my leg fell asleep. But I talked about this earlier on, well, actually, when your leg falls asleep, it's not actually falling asleep, it's actually waking up. So when your leg feels that tingling of waking up, like on my legs falling asleep, it's actually waking up. Like the nerves are actually waking up. So if your leg is um, tingling, you're regaining the consciousness in your leg. Like you have already lost blood flow to that area. So when you get that tingle, you've already your leg has already lost blood flow. So it's important that when your leg starts to tingle, that you actually put it back. Yep. Yeah, I learned that a few years ago when I was at a NASA something for NASA, but I learned about it there. But yeah, so if your leg ever tingles, it's actually waking up. It's trying to alert you to not lose any more blood. Because if you think about it, I'm gonna get back to the topic, but if you think about it, if your leg, let's just say you have one leg up and one leg down, and the leg that's down is losing a lot of the blood flow. It's all going in one direction, and it's you're losing blood flow and you're losing that circulation into your body because it's going all in one direction. It's not going like this, it's going all in one direction and you're losing circulation in an area. Your body can't make your blood flow in a different direction. The only thing it can do is tell you, I mean, I'm not a doctor, so I may be wrong, but I'm just saying, I do know for a fact that it's your leg waking up, not falling asleep, but I don't know the exact medical terms on this next part, but this is just my observation that if It's like your body can't recirculate your blood for you. All it can do is send you a signal to say, hey, you're losing a lot of circulation in this area. You're losing a lot of flow to this area. Please do something about it. It's the same thing as like hunger. When your body's hungry, it can't eat for you. All it can do is make your stomach growl so that you can go eat. Like your body is literally a messenger. It's like if you're really thirsty, it can't, your body's not gonna get up and make you drink water. You have to say, wow, my throat feels so dry. My mouth feels really dry. Let me get water. The only thing your body can do is send you the signal by making your leg tingle, making your stomach growl, and making your mouth dry, and like things like that. So when you are getting these responses from your body has already had a loss of something. It's already, the damage has already been done. It's just trying to get you to respond to it. Because if you didn't realize that you hadn't ate, and your body didn't um make your stomach growl, how would you ever know to eat? How would you ever know to eat until the next time you thought about it? You're like, actually, I haven't eaten in a while. Let me go eat. If your body didn't have the growling mechanism to like literally verbally, not verbally, my stomach's literally growling right now. Um, not verbally, but audibly send you a signal that you need to eat something, right? Then how would you know? It's like if I'm sitting here and I'm just talking to the camera, focus on the camera, talking about my video, and my legs falling asleep, and I'm sitting here for an hour, how would I know that my leg's falling asleep unless it tingles? I wouldn't know until I look down and my foot's blue and I need to go to the hospital. So that's why I just absolutely adore the human body, because it's just beyond blessed to have a body that's functioning, and like, not just, I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about everyone, like bodies that work in a certain way and that we know how they work for the most part, and that's just a beautiful thing. But yeah, going back to it, it's like you can't be stuck in your head. If you're stuck in your head about something that you want to get done, anything stuck in your head cannot be materialized. Anything stuck in your head is going to stay in your head. It's the same thing I talked about on my channel with edutainment. Edutainment is education, entertainment. It's like when you're watching hours and hours and hours of videos on a topic that you want to learn, and you think that you're being educated, but you're really being entertained. Edutainment, right? It's this, you're faking yourself out of the fact that you think you're learning something, but you're really not. And I've done this countless times. That's why I can talk about it. Anything on my channel, I only talk about things I've been through, and I only talk about things that I know, and I only talk about things that I understand and I've actually transformed through. And if I don't know something, I will preface it by saying I don't even know how that really works, but this is my observation. Like I just did. I mean, that was a good example too. Like I don't go around acting like I know everything, because I don't. But when you are in your head, this is the edutainment, um, really aids this, because it makes you feel like you're learning. It makes you feel like you're getting farther, and you're not. That's how it fakes you out, because it's showing you and telling you, oh, you're learning this, you're learning this, oh, you feel so good because you're watching hours of content and you think you're learning something. But then you actually look at your life and you're like, wait, I actually am not learning anything. I actually haven't made any decisions or moves based on anything that I've learned. So how is my life any better? I've consumed hours, hundreds of hours of content. And what else? Like, have I made any money? Have I made a new friend? Have I gotten the desire? Like, okay. And then when you realize, what in the world, I've watched so many videos and I actually haven't done anything. When you come to that realization, which is a very sad realization, but it's real. And when you come to that realization, you will stop the edutainment and you'll actually go get in the field. And I talked about that on a video. It's like you need to get in the field. If you're watching so many hours of videos, feeling good about the stuff that you're learning because your brain is like, you're consuming. Consuming is good because we're all trained that if we consume, we're learning. That's not necessarily true, because you may be. Let's just even say you are learning. You're not doing anything to improve your life because everything is up here. If you can't take it from here to out here, it doesn't matter. It doesn't exist. Like when I first started this like manifestation, like mindset, inner work journey a year, almost maybe like I don't even know, probably 3 years at this point. When I had like a pivot in my journey, I realized, oh my gosh, like this was the pivot. This is the realization. The realization was the pivot that um, I was listening to all of my like spiritual like leaders and all this information and all of this stuff. And my life was still the same. I was still acting the same way. I was still being the same way. And I was like, oh my gosh, everything I'm learning, everything I'm doing, everything I'm understanding now, the awareness I have is still up here. How has my life changed? How is my life better? How am I operating different? And I had to literally take it from knowledge to actual action. And the pivot or the not well the awareness that I came to was that knowledge is not power at all. Action is power. Knowledge is not power. Action is power. I don't want to be controversial. I really don't. But Hitler, I don't want to be controversial. But Hitler was probably not the only person on the earth that thought to do what he did. He was just the one person that actually actualized it. Now, that might be scary. It is scary. But it's the same thing for good people. Like there are there's only there's only so many people that are going to actually act on the good that they have in their heart because there's so like imagine there's hundreds of millions of people who want to do so much for the world. They want to feed the homeless, they want to do this, they want to start nonprofits, they want to help, they want to we all know people like that just want to help everybody, but there's only a small percentage of people that actually get to help people on the level that they want to because 99% of people are here. It's so much more difficult to go from here, knowledge is power, to actually putting it out here, which is action is power. Knowledge is just knowledge. You can't do anything with knowledge. If you can't do anything with knowledge, you have no power. It's taking action on the knowledge you have is what makes you powerful. Period. Point blank. So get out of your head. Stop acting like you can't share your issues with people. Stop acting like nobody wants to hear what you have to say. Even if you're not talking to your family, go post it on social media. Go find your tribe. I mean, that's what I did here. I post all my thoughts. I post not post my thoughts, but I talk about my thoughts, ideas, things I'm going through, things I've overcame, videos that are really helpful in all aspects of life. And you can do the same. You can also go post on social media and talk about maybe it's not in the way that I do it, but you go and you make videos about questions you have about finance or about money or relationship or whatever. And you never know who will have the answer. You never know what you'll hear that'll actually click for you. You never know what you'll actually see and what perspective you'll get that will actually help you. You don't know. You have no clue. And don't be so rigid in the beliefs that you have because the beliefs that you have simply are the knowledge. And you have to actualize the knowledge. You have to get into the mindset that you can actually do the thing. You can actually go out and do the thing. And the only way you do that is by getting out of here.